For as long as I have been alive, which at the time of this recording has been a solid 24 years of existence, E3 has always been about the big three. Being able to experience the big reveals for the rest of the year from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo has always been the reason why a lot of people would tune in and experience E3 every year. However, what if I told you from 2007 and onward, there was another show to watch? A show that not only is extremely entertaining on its own merit, but is also full of wonderful game announcements. That's right, I'm talking about you, Bethesda. Wait, that's not what I mean. It's time to get off that couch, crack those fingers, and watch a gratuitous amount of low-budget violence on this episode of Gonzo Media. For those of you who are unaware, Devolver Digital was founded back in 2009 by Mike Wilson, Harry Miller, and Rick Stoltz. These three founders were also the former operators of Gamecock Media Group, a company that got notoriety in 2007 through 2008 by publishing games such as Dimension the Ward, Legendary, and Mushroom Men. Unfortunately, the cost of publishing physical versions of niche games was too high, and Gamecock was bought and quickly shut down in 2008 by company South Peak Games. Naming their company after a bird was somehow ironic, however, as the founders ended up rising from their proverbial ashes the next year, forging the entity now known as Devolver. The company specializes as acting as a publisher for indie games, and in order to prevent getting dissolved like their former iteration, focuses on digital releases instead of physical copies of games. Devolver Digital started by publishing HD remakes of the Serious Sam games, but eventually became famous for publishing their breakout hit, Hotline Miami. If you consider yourself a gamer, I highly recommend checking out both the Serious Sam and Hotline Miami franchises. I guarantee that you won't be disappointed by them. In the year 2013, Devolver branched into film with Devolver Digital Films. Devolver also owns a subsidiary, Special Reserve Games, a label used to distribute their games in limited edition physical copies. The indie publisher Good Shepherd Company is also majority owned by Devolver.
This is it. This is Devolver.
Devolver, a company that previously had occupied a parking lot adjacent to the LA Convention Center during previous E3s, announced that they would be holding their very own E3 conference in the year 2017. The world had no idea as to what to expect. Devolver had previously mentioned that they had no new games to announce, but that famous developer, and personal favorite of mine, Suda51 was going to appear for their show.
Hello, I'm Suda51. 今日何喋るんだっけえ
Devolver Digital
デボルバーデジタル知らない聞いてないよその話何それ全然知らねえんだけどいやもうこっち今忙しいからもう仕事しなきゃいけないからさ
Attention, due to miscommunication and translation, Devolver Digital and Suda51 will not be working on a Devolver Earliest Access project together.
Back to Nina Struthers!
Many people expected a lot of different things, but no one was ready for what we actually got. Instead of the usual live show of a businessman in a suit bragging about sales amidst a game announcement or two, Devolver brought a pre-recorded video. This video acted as a parody of normal presentation, starring Synergy Officer Nina Struthers, played by actress Maria Zook, spouting buzzwords and being intentionally awkward. They were even smart enough where they basically brought in super over-the-top exaggerated audience members that always clap and applaud even at the weirdest moments, so they definitely knew what they were doing with a lot of the fake audience that you tend to see at some of the bigger shows. Devolver Digital's idea of creating a parody of E3 that airs during E3 was successful, to the point where they decided to do it for 2018, and again this year of 2019. For this episode, I'm going to specifically just talk about the 2019 show, but I do highly recommend watching the previous two. Believe it or not, they are highly important and are completely necessary to experience the full Devolververse. The 2019 show is designed to be a parody of a Nintendo Direct, featuring the same red and white layout that has been used in most Directs so far. Devolver was so accurate that even the music used during the Devolver Direct scenes is a legally distinct version of the music used in all of Nintendo's shows. With Sony's recent State of Play being heavily inspired by Nintendo, it makes sense that Devolver would want to take their own twisted spin on it. After Nina got shut down in a scene designed to homage RoboCop, Devolver is faced with the dilemma of wanting to do an E3 show, but is currently lacking their symbol. After yelling at each other back and forth for a few minutes, it is decided to electroshock her and hook her up into a system that will project her thoughts into a Devolver Direct. Every segment has Nina Struthers trying to do her job and announce Devolver titles, while also realizing that she's in a weird dream state prohibiting her ability to swear. Well, sometimes prohibiting her ability to swear.
Okay, so I can't say fuck anymore. Whoa! Whoa, just said it! Ha ha! Fudge, yeah, wait, no. Flipping that never, what the poop is going on?
As the Devolver Direct continues, we see more and more scenes of over-the-top violence, which eventually ends up descending into madness. While I won't spoil a lot of the event, as I feel like it is something that should be experienced firsthand, I will say that it is something worth spending the 20 minutes it takes to experience the full Direct. As for the game part of the show, I would say that it had some pretty good announcements. The first game revealed was Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout. While we didn't have anything that appeared to be gameplay, the game seems to be an interesting take on the Battle Royale genre. Instead of being a shooter, Fall Guys takes place in what seems to be a variety of different obstacle courses, with the player having the main task of being the last one standing to earn the Royal Golden Crown. It seems like a really interesting concept, and I can't wait to see more. The next announcement, Devolver Bootlegs, is a very odd concept. The game is a collaboration of a bunch of different Devolver games, like Ape Out and Hotline Miami, but in a simplified format. While I don't know if it's going to be good or not, I do give kudos to the company for releasing a pack that essentially makes fun of themselves in the games they publish. Also, if you know the world is going to bootleg your games anyway, why not beat them to the punch and just do it yourself? Carrion was the next announcement and was labeled as a reverse horror game. You play as an amorphous blob, think John Carpenter's The Thing, that emerges from a capsule in a science facility. Your goal is to escape that facility while consuming as many of the soldiers and scientists you can on your way out. Carrion is dark, moody, and violent, and I am definitely keeping my eyes on it. The next, and definitely the most surprising announcement, is Enter the Gungeon: House of the Gundead. The game is a light gun game, and appears to be an Enter the Gungeon version of House of the Dead, and like its inspiration, is slated to be an arcade title intended to be released in 2020. As a huge light gun and Enter the Gungeon fan, I'm extremely excited to try and find this game when it releases to arcades. If you are unfortunate enough where you don't have any arcades near you, fret not, as you can currently pre-order the game for the low price of $5,000. DLC for The Messenger, a great 2D action game, was also announced and takes place in a beach resort setting. While not the most usual of presentations, Devolver Digital will always win most unique and most interesting in my heart. Even if you are not a fan of the games they publish, I highly recommend the presentations that they put out. They are all extremely interesting pieces of art, and I already cannot wait to see what they have in store for us at E3 2020. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. I always appreciate reading your feedback. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.